Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel. It's the 22nd of June. The transfer window is as hot as it will ever be. Today we've got Chelsea news, the second video of the day. Today's earlier content. I posted it in the middle of the night in England, and I think that could be the best way that I can get multiple videos up a day for you lot. So stay tuned first thing in the mornings, because I'm going to experiment with the weird time, the 3 a.m. slot, the UK slot, because that works in my time zone. In this video, we're going to talk Caicedo, the plan. There have been movements in the Declan Rice saga. Not necessarily benefiting Chelsea getting Rice. I think that ship has sailed, proverbially. But we're going to talk Caicedo plans. We're going to talk Nicolas Jackson. We're going to talk Puliic on loan. And I'm going to visit something I put on Twitter earlier that maybe suggests that I think Puliic should stay. And we're going to start with a striker who about a week ago, when the Nicolas Jackson, the Villareal striker, 21 years old, 9 goals in 8 games, that guy. That's all I had to say about it last week. It was, I looked at it and I was like, well, that's a great end to the season, but is that Chelsea's answer to Erling Haaland? Is that Chelsea's answer to the Diaz, Jota, Nunez, Salah, Liverpool front line? I don't know if it is, but the more I've looked at this, the more I've looked at him, the more I think maybe this transfer makes sense. And I think what this Jackson signing for Chelsea does is it allows us to be realistic. It allows us to remember that there is not that many top strikers on the market. Vlahovic, I think he would have been the cheaper alternative to Victor Osimhen. Napoli have said they want 150 million euros for Osimhen, which in the current situation with no European football, Chelsea, we're making loads of money from transfers. We are bringing in big sums of money for players, and we will bring in more. But at this rate, 150 mil, no European football, I don't see Osimhen not only leaving Napoli at this point, but moving to Chelsea. So, Nicolas Jackson is the alternative, and this is the current update on the situation. This is from about 17 hours ago from Fab. No changes on the Jackson deal. Villareal informed since Monday that Chelsea will match the 35 million euro release clause. Clubs negotiating installments or loan players included. If only, it's only a matter of details. Contract being prepared. Jackson will only fly to London when the deal is done. Loan players. In my head, this makes sense if it's a Datro Fofana. Datro Fofana goes on loan. I think in terms of youngsters, they're both very young. Development-wise, I think Jackson scoring 9 in 8 means that he's probably ready for the Premier League a bit more than Datro Fofana. I think Fofana's a good player. I think he's a bit erratic. And I think when you're playing at this level and you take the step up that he did, you've got to expect that. And he's certainly not Chelsea's answer right now to being that star-studded striker that we need to lead the line for Chelsea Football Club, having had to deal with Havertz as a number 9. That's a big bug. Bloody hell, who invited him? All season long. We don't need to see it again. So Nicolas Jackson, 35 million euro release clause. People have said, is this really the answer? I'll be very honest with you. No, I don't believe it is, but I do think, again, similar to the Fofana signing, the Santos signing, the Caicedo signing, this goes along with the Chelsea project. It goes along with the plan to bring in the best young players using a new scouting network to ensure that the £600 million a season deals that Chelsea did last year don't have to be what the club have to do every year to be competitive. We need youngsters on the books. We need good quality players who can work in a project, in a system, and sometimes we've got to accept that that might not necessarily yield instantly the results that we crave. And a lot of the players who I think this season for Chelsea will have big seasons, won't necessarily have 20 assists in the Premier League, 25, 30 goals in the Premier League. But Chelsea need to step it up massively. But that comes from across the team. When you look last season at the deficiencies with scoring goals, there wasn't one guy who scored loads who was the standout and then there was no contributions from anyone else. There were just no contributions. Games went by where we could have scored 5 but scored 0. There were games that went by where we got beat by teams at the bottom of the table and just needed someone to be there. And they weren't there. Nicolas Jackson, exciting player, but I think this signing is Chelsea just really understanding the striker market right now. The top targets that we probably would love might not come to us with no European football, and we might be priced out of the moves. So in the process of bringing in Nkunku, who Pochettino knows can play, as a number 9. It's a gamble, but I think Chelsea will look at the start of this season when Pochettino actually starts working, pre-season is flowing, he will be able to look at Jackson if we do get this signing done, which I think we will. He'll look at Nkunku, he'll look at Armando Broja, a man who a lot of us have forgotten that Chelsea still have. And he'll be able to look at this and say, yeah, we're not going to score many goals again this year, lads. We're going to have to play with a second striker for sure. Maybe we should give João Felix a ring again. You know, we might just have to make it work. I think it is a gamble, Chelsea this summer not signing a massive elite striker, but at the same time, I've already given my thoughts on who we should go for. Mitrovic. I think it is one of those signings where he'll score you 15 goals a season in the Premier League, which is good. It's better than we've seen for many recent years. And maybe that is an avenue that Chelsea explore later in the window. But just for the sake of, that's what I said, I wanted to say it again, just so that I can make sure that I've got my 2 cents in there in case something like this happens. But Jackson, exciting player. Maybe he hits the ground running. Maybe this is exactly what Pochettino wants. Maybe it's what Chelsea need. We shall see. But it is a gamble. He's young, but with Nkunku coming through as well, Bundesliga top scorer. We've heard all that before, but Nkunku is a special player. Very excited for him. Moving into the news that Christian Puliic could be on his way to Milan on loan. There's a few things that I like about this, and there are a few things I don't like. For whatever reason, I woke up this morning today, and I thought, Christian Puliic, that's a guy I don't really give that much credit to. He's always bloody injured, and I always tell everybody how he's always bloody injured. But this morning, I just had this little inclination in my head, and sometimes I get these bees in my bonnet, right? With Puliic, I'm going to just throw it out there. If he can stay fit, I think he performs better than he ever has in a Chelsea shirt under Maurizio Pochettino. Now, Chelsea have known that Puliic probably wants to leave. His Chelsea career, he said it himself, it's not gone the way he wanted it to. And I just wonder that a loan move, right? If Puliic can stay fit, is a loan move giving him one last chance where if the loan does well and he comes back and maybe he could still thrive in a Poch system? Or with Mount on the verge of going to Man United, Kai Havertz already sold, is Christian Puliic one of those potential players where Chelsea are prioritising Caicedo? We're looking at Romeo Lavia. Rumours I heard this morning on Twitter were that we want Diogo Costa now from Porto as well. So maybe Kepa's not the number 1 starting keeper after all. Before we know it, this transfer window will be over. Pochettino will have his pre-season, he will start working with his players and he'll start knowing who he wants, who he doesn't. Chelsea have already sold a fair chunk of players, so is the Puliic deal one of those deals where Poch gets to work with him at pre-season, stick him as a number 10, stick him in the middle, stick him on the left, stick him on the right, see if it can work under the new tactical strategy and system? With Puliic, I know it seems ridiculous and I'm backtracking on so many things I've said, but I just do think with Pochettino that he could work. I'd said to you, it's an inclination. I'm allowed to change my mind the same way you lot are. And if we're going to lose Mount as well, Puliic can play in central areas. He's good at taking players on, but he just can't stay fit. Loan to Milan, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I did get rinsed on Twitter for saying earlier that he might just cook under Pochettino. Is it too late for Christian Puliic? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Now, Moises Caicedo. I want to talk about the plan here because the plan may need to speed up a little bit soon. And the reason for that, unfortunately, is that Manchester City are entering the race for Declan Rice. When I saw that there was another club looking at Rice, looking to get involved, I was like, please be Chelsea. As much as I love Caicedo, I'm sold on Lavia as well. I would just love Declan Rice to be that guy who Chelsea go for. Maybe we still do, but we're not hearing anything about it at the moment. It would be very Chelsea to just decide to let City and Arsenal do all the talking and then be like, big deck, mate. Do you want to come back over to West London and play for the Blues? I don't think he will. If City are knocking on the door, Arsenal are knocking on the door, the 2 best clubs in the Prem last season, that's where he goes. And at the moment, Chelsea aren't going to cough up the funds for him. But I just think with Caicedo, Chelsea will have to act fast. If Declan Rice and Man City enter the equation, I think Rice goes to Man City. And I think what you'd see is Calvin Phillips maybe go to West Ham. And I think the deal would be easier for West Ham to strike with Manchester City. So if the interest that Man City have in Rice suddenly turns to Arsenal make a good bid, West Ham are really considering it, City, do you want to match it? Do you want to go in? Then I think Chelsea will need to act very quickly on Moises Caicedo. What is that cat eating over there? He's got some tinfoil, but I can't see any food. I'm curious about that, but we're going to finish this video. Caicedo to Chelsea. If Rice goes to City and Arsenal go in for Caicedo, Chelsea have a battle on their hands here. And I think if there is a world where Chelsea end up with neither Rice nor Caicedo in this window, then there's another man who I saw some rumours, some stories, not from reputable sources, but Tchouaméni of Real Madrid, a man who Chelsea should have gone for a couple of years back now. Remember, he was worth about 40 million euros and we didn't go for him when he was at Monaco. If we miss out on Caicedo and Rice, which is probably an inevitability, should Chelsea go back in for Tchouaméni? You look at that Real Madrid midfield, it is absolutely stacked. In the same breath, I've also seen some stories about Valverde. Now, I'll tell you now, Valverde, I love him. I think he's an unbelievable midfielder, but I don't think he goes to Chelsea. Why give up Real Madrid Champions League football, the best club in the world, and go to Chelsea at this point? I mean, I think Chelsea are the best club in the world, but that is also an erratic statement to make in days and times like this. Tchouaméni or Valverde? We're going to have to potentially think about these kind of things. If Rice goes to City, Caicedo could go to Arsenal. They do need a Rice or a Caicedo. So Chelsea, pull your finger out. We've got to start moving here. We've got to start working. I'm loving all of the deals when it comes to players leaving. We're getting good fees for players. 40 million euros combined for Mendy and Koulibaly, I think is good. Get those high wages off of the wage bill. Chelsea are making cash. And we've got to make sure we spend it wisely and don't go into pre-season, don't go into next season short in any areas. We cannot afford to fall further away and not secure European football by the end of next season. That's where we're at. Let me know your thoughts on everything in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Didn't plug it at the start, so I'll plug it now. 2 VIP tickets to Chelsea Liverpool given away in my Telegram with my partnership with Go Markets. Top link in the description. Subscribe if you're new. Hit the like if you enjoyed the news updates. I'll see you guys later. Come on, you Blues.